Hey, welcome to Family DIY TV. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how you build these steps as a DIYer. You don't need to have any fancy tools. Actually, the amount of tools you need is pretty minimal. Also, the amount of math, it's all going to be taken care of from a website that I'm going to show you. One thing I really like about these steps, because they are in a garage, that they do go all the way to the ground, right? So I have a solid stringer here, and I have a solid stringer on the other side as well. This will keep any mice, bugs, or anything from making a house inside there. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to do a little bit of math. But we're gonna keep this math very, very easy for you. And I'm gonna have a website that's gonna show you exactly how to do it. First thing we need to know is, how is our step gonna lay out? It's gonna lay out like this, where 2 steps, and that last step you have to go into into wherever you're going, or is that top step gonna come off of here and then go down 2? In my case, I wanna have it go here, all right? I wanna have a step here, and then have 2 steps down. I want to step on the little platform up here, basically. The next thing I want to know is, what's the height of the rise? So the rise is the distance between floor and wherever you're going to. That's your total rise, all right? So in this case, if I measure this, I get right at 24 inches. So my rise is 24 inches, all right? Let's figure out how we're gonna cut our stringer. All right, so we're gonna come to blocklayer.com. This is gonna give us all of the calculations. So one of the first things we need to decide on is the top tread down or top tread level. Top tread level means it's level with the upper floor, and top tread down means you have to step down to that first step. We said we already want that top tread level, so we're gonna go with that. We also knew that our total rise was 24, so we're gonna select 24, and then we're gonna calculate. Now, the only other thing you may want to mess around in here with is the tread thickness. It defaults normally to 1.5 inches, but I'm going to put 1 inch. Where I live, I cannot find treads that are 1.5 inches. So you're going to want to basically make sure you pay attention to that. And you click this little calculate button in the middle. And this will perfectly lay out everything. So you can see my upper floor is 24 inches. This gives you all of the layout that you need. From the bottom all the way to the left, it's 29.25. If you were cutting this out of a normal stringer, you have this. You can also print out a template. And down here, we'll tell you how to lay out your tread and riser detail. This will be very important for the end, but you want to basically keep an eye on this one as well. You can play with the scale. So what you see, we have 3 steps here, 24 inches high. 3/4 inch pressure treated plywood. Now I bought these are 2 feet wide by 4 feet long. They're just easier to handle, and they were only 25 bucks. I didn't have to buy a big giant 4x8 piece. My rise is 24, so obviously the string will be less than that, so that's why I was able to get a 2 foot. And just so we have some basis here, this is the part that's gonna go against the house, okay? All right, this is up, this is down, and our steps are gonna go this way. Maybe we'll just put an angle, right? This is the top, this is the bottom, all right?
So we're gonna start with the first measurement. We're gonna basically square this thing up. So the first measurement
is 23 inches, all right? So mark 23 inches, and we'll take our square all the way down at 23 inches. 23 inches with a line. Now we need to do this one down here. So this one is 29.25. 29.25. We will take our square again, put this on here, and line it up. Now we have a square. We're gonna cut our stringer out of this piece right here. Next thing we need to look at is our rise. And our website actually tells us what the rise is. Our rise is at 8 inches. So for the rise, you wanna start at the top and measure your way down. All right, and I'll put these rules down below. Basically, I think these are rules that are very helpful, that will basically help you create any kind of steps at any time. But if we start at the top, right up here, basically what we want to do is we want to make a mark at 8 inches, right? And then our next one is at 8 inches again, so that would be 8, 16. So we have 8, 16, and then this one is what it is. So this one down here should be 7. Because this one here will have the tread on it, which is 1 inch material. Then we're gonna do, again, we'll grab our square and we'll make those lines all the way down and we're just doing whatever that website says, right? Now, if these measurements are like not even numbers, what I would suggest you do is play around with the rise and the run and see if you can get everything at an even number. Also, what you want to do is make sure that whatever thickness material that it's calling for, so we're calling for 3/4 inch risers and 1 inch treads, make sure you can actually procure that at your local hardware store, all right? All right, so now we have our risers cut. Now we need to cut our runs. Our runs are gonna come this way, all right? And our runs we know are 10 inches long. Now for the runs, we wanna start at the bottom actually. So for the rise, we started up at the top right. For the run, we're gonna start at the bottom left. So this one, we're gonna mark 10 inches and we're just gonna work our way down. So we have 10, then we have 20, all right? And the last one should actually be 3/4 less than 10, which is 9 1/4, which it is, all right? Because again, this math gets crazy, but we have to account for the riser and for the tread height. So if we start here and work our way down now for the runs, we now have our runs. Now we have step 1, step 2, step 3, okay? Now, if we want to do some proving to ourselves, just to make sure that we're on the right track, we could grab some 3/4 material, right? That we're gonna use, some cutoffs, and we can actually lay it on here and just make sure that when we start cutting this, that we are actually gonna be at the right heights and the right lengths. So I so happen to have some 3/4 material. We can even add a 1 inch material. I have some 1 inch blocking here. We can kind of do something like that. So if I measure from here to here, our computer program is telling us that we should have a 10 3/4 inch tread. So if I mark from here, because I have this line on the tread on the stringer, I do see that I would have a 10 3/4 inch would work, and I'd have a 3/4 inch overhang. So everything is looking good. I can even check here. You want to check every one because these steps are complicated, especially for a DIYer. It only does this every once in a while. So I should get 10 right to here, and then I'll get 3/4 of an inch. We'll pull our line, we're right at 10. So our runs are good. Now let's check our rises. So our rises are gonna be made out of 1 inch material. Will be that, right? Because this is 1 inch material, right? It's only, I'm just using this just to play around with. What will my rise look like? My rise is 8 inches. And if I do the same thing up here, basically just doing some proving. Yep, and I have 80. Let me do the bottom. So if that, right, because this will be the floor, I should have around 8 inches, and I do. So we're looking good. I think everything is proved out. So now we can actually cut along this line with a jigsaw. So we can use a jigsaw, we can use all kinds, whatever you got. I'm gonna use a jigsaw to cut this one out. Once we cut this one out, we'll use this one as a template to cut the other one out. So for out of this one, I should be able to get 2 risers. Whatever you wanna call them, cut. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's what we're gonna call them today. Now my floor does dip down over here in this corner, a 1/2 inch. So actually what I did was I added a 1/2 inch onto one of these. So you see that one's a little bit bigger than the other, all right? So, you could do that yourself. Basically what I did is I lined everything up and I just kept a 1/2 inch on the bottom, all right? And that'll level it out. Or like I said, just make it level and then just shim it out when you're done, because it does start to get a little complicated when you start, adding measurements onto here. But I hope that was really, really easy for you and it's something you could follow. Now it's a matter of just putting this thing together like any other set of steps. So what we're doing here, basically, we need to figure out what that inside 2x4, what the inside mounts are gonna be, all right? So we need to consider our overhang. So our overhang is only gonna be 3/4 inch on one side. The other side I want it completely flush because it's gonna be against the wall, a closet that we're building. So what we need to do is take our total material, which is this is 2 3/4 inch pieces of plywood, so that's 1.5 inches. Then we have to take a 3/4 inch overhang off of that. So 1.5 inches plus a 3/4 inch overhang, 2 1/4. And then we need to take 2 1/4 off of the 48, and that's what we will cut every one of our 2x4s to. All right, so that is 45 3/4. A bunch of 2x4s, 2x6s, whatever material you're gonna use. If you're gonna have a 3/4 inch overhang on the whole thing, you need to bring it in a little bit more, so you'd actually have to cut another 3/4 of an inch over this, off of this 45 and a half. All right, so we cut our 2x4s, and now we're gonna start putting this thing together. I like to use these 2.5 inch construction screws, but I always have on hand. Now, the first set we get in here is gonna probably be the hardest.
I did 3 drills. The first few were a little slow.
And yeah, since we last made this video, we actually did some other things. We painted the ceiling black. Now we are gonna install some additional lights, actually 16-foot lights, 2 16-foot LEDs. They're on order. So it's a little bit darker in here. I apologize for the lighting, but it will get better. We're doing all of this actually to make better content. So that's why we finished this. We're getting cabinets. This is gonna be a whole new studio for all kinds of stuff like this. So, but now we're just getting ready. So in this case, you gotta get rid of all the old stuff that's in our way. Right, now we're gonna add another 3 2x4 cross members. So we're gonna have one here, and one down there. Okay, this will be the back of the tread. So I have this clamp here because I'm doing this by myself. This will actually hold it up for me. Go with our usual suspect screws. These are my construction screws that I've used to build this entire thing. We will run 2 in. I'm gonna run some screws in here, and in the middle, and I'm also gonna go down in my concrete as well. Down here through this pressure treated plate. Push it into the corner, and we'll run our first screw. All right, so we'll be using Tapcon screws. Basically just buy the screws. You do need a hammer drill to install these because you have to drill that pilot hole first. You drill the hole, you want to really clean that hole out as many times as you can. You know, drill it out, pull the drill out, move all the dust off, clean out, just make sure that hole is really clean. All right, and then these will go in with no issue, and they'll really suck this thing to the ground. Just like if you're running it in drywall. These are a little bit too big. Mine need a 1/4 inch taken off of them, so we're just gonna take it out to the table saw, cut a 1/4 inch off each one of these. So we ripped everything down so that it fits and everything is nice and snug. See how snug that is. All right, now we're gonna install the treads first. You can use like liquid nails if you like never wanted to take these apart, but I'm not convinced because I like to tinker that I'm never gonna take these apart. So I'm gonna use this like wood glue. And then when we screw these in, we're gonna pay a little attention to the spacing on each one. We don't want to just randomly put screws in. So we can just make a quick template. I just grab. What we do is we use the template to make a hole, right? In the step here. And then we have this bit here. I love these things. These actually make a little indent for the head of the screw. And then just like that. So you see this, the screw sits nice and flush. Now, if you look here, it's gonna be really hard to get this one. So that's where this 90-degree comes into play. So we can use this to get really close to the edge. We're just gonna rinse and repeat and do that 3 times. One here, one right down the center, and then one on the edge. All right, so now we have to install these risers. So one thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go underneath the screws that are already there. And we're just gonna use anything that's a template, right? We're just gonna use this. So I'll line it up with my eye. And across. So 1, 2, 3, see I already did these up here. Now you can finish these steps whichever way you want. You know, I thought about maybe painting these blue, this white. I went with a stained step. Do whatever you want with these steps. But I really hope that video was helpful. Now, this is one of the first things I did in this garage, and I'm gonna share all of this on the channel. So if you're into like redoing garages or anything like that, I'll be sharing all of this on the channel and you'll be seeing it very soon. But this is the first one. But I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions about how to do steps, please leave me a comment down below. I'll be happy to help you or make another video explaining this process. I think this process is very, very DIY friendly. Anybody can do it. I hope this helped you. If it did, please leave me a comment down below. Please like this video. Also consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're into garages or anything like that, the next few videos will be on how we redid this garage, which we still are doing. It'll all be on the channel. I'm Mike, and I am Garage Out. Stop looking. Don't look at the ceiling.